All right, so if you're not getting what you want out of a relationship, if the man in your life isn't really stepping up for you, he's not stepping up to the plate and giving you what you want, he's taking you for granted, he doesn't care about you like he should, he stopped putting in effort. If you're in a situation where you have a guy who is just taking you for granted, that is what we're going to be talking about today. I've got 4 principles that you need to start focusing on if you want a man to start valuing you and feeling like you're an amazing, awesome, beautiful person that you actually are, that he just doesn't see and recognize. My name is Matthew Coast, and welcome to our channel, Commitment Connection. If this is your first time here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button to make sure that you do not miss any other videos that we put out, because we put out some really awesome videos, and I'm going to be putting out some really cool videos, so make sure that you're doing that. All right, so how to make a man value you so much that he's willing to do basically anything for you. And so, like I said, I've got 4 different principles here that we're going to be talking about. And so, hello, welcome. If you're here with us right now, make sure that you say hello in the chat and let us know what part of the world you are watching from right now. I am actually traveling around right now. That's why I'm doing this on my phone. I'm recording this on my phone right now. All right, so you want a guy to value you. You want him to see you as a special, unique, amazing woman that he has in his life. And that's what happens when a man values you, is he sees you as something that's different, that's unique, that's special, that's amazing. And so you want him to feel this way about you. You want him to feel like you're somebody different. You want him to feel like you're somebody that he doesn't want to let go of, that he wants to grab and he wants to hold and he wants to keep, and that he's scared of losing because you're so amazing and different, and you touch his heart and you make him feel like you're just that woman that he wants to have in your life. And so here are some principles that you need to think about if you are going to have a guy value you the way that you need to be valued by a man. And the first one, we're going to go over 4. The first one is something that we call scarcity. And this is kind of the supply and demand type of thing, right? So the more scarce you are to a man, the less available you are. Like the harder it is for him to kind of get a hold of you or to contact you. And there's kind of 2 different sides to this, right? You can be so unavailable to a guy that he loses touch and he loses interest. He feels like you're playing a game. You don't ever want to play games. And we talk about this. I've talked about this several times in a whole bunch of different videos that I've done. Like you never want to play games, and even more so, you don't want him to feel like you're playing games with him, because if he feels like you're playing games, then he's going to either leave or he's going to play games with you, and you don't want either one of those things. However, you do want to make it so that you're scarce, and not just you in a physical body are scarce, but his ability to get the connection that he wants is scarce. It's one of the problems that we have with the whole hookup culture right now, is that just hooking up, getting all your needs met in a sexual relationship, it's so easy to do these days because everybody is kind of just hooking up with each other, and it's kind of become this norm that people just hook up and it's not a big deal. And so everybody's getting these sexual needs hooked up. But what a lot of people are missing that is scarce right now is real connections. So getting a connection that is deeper, something that's real, something that's spiritual, that's something that's deep, something that's like a real, like passionate connection that you have with another human being. That's become this incredibly scarce thing, and lots of people are kind of playing games because they know about a lot of guys know about this whole scarcity principle. A lot of women do too. And so they manufacture scarcity in the wrong ways. And so instead of having it be this thing where they've got just this nice life and all this other stuff, they just try to pretend like they're scarce, or they try to pretend like they have this emotional scarceness, and it kind of like messes with the whole dynamic of relationships right now, where a lot of people are feeling kind of numb in their relationships because they're not really getting a real connection. And so what you want to do in terms of scarcity is have a full life. Live a full life so that you're not always just at his beck and call, so that you're not always just available to do whatever it is that he wants to do, so that you have things going on, and he has to kind of work to get you to meet up with him. He's got to work he's got to put in effort, he's got to put in energy, and he's got to actually step up, because that's what you want from a man. So one of the things that I'm going to be talking about, especially in some of these future videos, is kind of these different dynamics that we're starting to create in kind of building a relationship with a man, and the things that he needs to be doing in order for him to qualify as being the right man that you want to have in your life. Because if he's not doing those things, then it's a problem. And so one of the things that he needs to be doing is he needs to be stepping up. And I was talking to a woman in our community about this the other day. She was talking about this guy who he was kind of like asking these questions, and he's not really sure what to do. And she's like, oh, should I help him out? And it's like, no, he needs to step up and be the man, right? He needs to step into his masculine energy and take on that confidence force within himself, where he's pushing things forward, he's investing, and he's doing all those things. So yeah, have your time taken up by things, find hobbies, have things that are going on in your life that is outside of just this one man that you're talking to. There's too many women. There's far too many women in our community that I talk to all the time who tell me things about how it's just this one guy. There's this one guy, and that's the only guy that they have out there. It's like basically their whole life, and everything revolves around whether things are working with that guy or whether they're not. And if they're not working with that guy, then they're freaking out, and they're losing their mind, and they're constantly thinking about that guy. And that is one of the worst positions that you can possibly be in, which actually leads us to number 2, which is the abundance mindset. And so, like I said, there's too many women out there that are trying to get guys that don't want them. Right? You want a guy that is into you. You deserve a man that loves you and is passionate about you, and thinks that you're amazing, and when he sees you, his eyes light up, and he just feels like, this woman is my world, and she's so beautiful and amazing and radiant, and I'll just do anything that I can for her. And if you're just stuck, we get a lot of women that'll come and they're like, oh, I saw this one guy, and he's already, I can't tell you how many women come to us, and they're like, oh, there's this guy, and he's so amazing, but he's married. How do I get him to leave his wife and go to me? And it's like, why are you chasing married men? Why are you focusing on just one man, right? You need to open up your horizons. If you want, if you're feeling needy, if you're feeling clingy, if you're feeling like you're grasping for connection with a guy, it's because you don't have that abundance mindset. When you start having an abundance mindset, when you start having lots of men in your orbit and around you, and lots of guys that you can date, and there's all these different options, then it's not like, oh, I have to make this work with this one guy, and if it doesn't, it's over, and my whole life, my whole world is over if I don't make it work with this one guy, right? Because when you're in that situation, when you're stuck in that situation, the worst possible situation that you can be in. And so you want to have an abundance mindset. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You want it so that if it doesn't work out with this guy, there's plenty of other guys, and there's other guys kind of fighting for your attention and your time and your energy and all the different things that you give, right? Your time is valuable. It's the one thing that you have no more of in the world. You don't have any more time. And so if you're giving of your time to a man, he needs to deserve it, right? He needs to have earned your time. And so the way that you make it so that that's something that you do is you have an abundance mindset, and you have other guys that you're seeing, that you're hanging out with, that you're talking to, that you're dating. And yeah, so that's number 2, abundance mindset. If you guys have any questions about anything, I'll go over some questions at the end. So throw your questions in the chat if you have any questions about anything that we're talking about here. So number 3. Number 3 is emotional attractiveness. And so men come to women for the emotional experience that they have around them, right? That's why they like feminine. That's one of the reasons why they like feminine energy, right? It's this emotional experience that they don't get by themselves. They don't get on their own. And so they hang out around women. A lot of women do this too with men, right? You'll hang out with him because you, especially like more masculine men, even if you're not able to connect with him and have him, a lot of women will still hang out around masculine guys because they want to have that masculine energy, that masculine emotion, all that kind of masculineness around them. And so they'll go and hang out with those guys in order to get that. And so what you want to do is have a variety, a wide variety to your emotional attractiveness, to your emotional connection that you have with a man. Because when he's around you, think about, for instance, a guy who think about a movie, right? Think about going to a movie, and what is it that we love about movies? Like, not all movies are great movies. However, the best movies, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, are the movies that have huge emotional range, right? You go to it, and it's not like you just laugh the entire time you're at the movie. No, you go and you laugh and you cry and you're scared and there's all these different emotional experiences that you have when you go to this movie, and that's what makes it a really amazing movie, is that it's got this wide range of different emotions. And so that's what you want to have as well with a man, is you want him to experience lots of different emotions when he's around you, because that's one of the things that creates depth, right? Depth is, it's not like, so for instance, if you go, like, let's say you go and meet a guy, and you're talking to him, and he talks about one thing, right? Like, let's say he's a pilot, and all he talks about is being a pilot and flying and all this stuff, right? He's just a pilot, right? There's kind of this one-dimensional thing. You'll tell your friends, you're like, yeah, I met this pilot guy. Well, what about him? Oh, well, he's a pilot. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, he's a pilot. But if he's got like all this depth to him, right? Like, he's got all these different things that are going on. He can talk about a whole bunch of different subjects. He's not Mr. Pilot Guy anymore. He's this guy that has this emotional range, and he becomes this multi-dimensional human being, and he actually becomes a lot more valuable to you because it's far more interesting. You're just like, wow, there's so many different cool aspects, and you might even start becoming insecure about it. Like, why would this amazing, interesting guy even want, to be around me? Like, am I really that interesting? I mean, maybe he just likes me for my looks, right? And all these things start going through your head that are just absolutely ridiculous. However, having kind of an emotional range for a man makes you really, really valuable, because he doesn't normally experience those things. And so different ways to kind of have that emotional range when you're with a man is, one, having kind of different things that are going on in your life, right? Like being able to tell stories, talking about different things that are going on, not just always focusing on positive emotions. There's this huge kind of misnomer that a lot of women have that I hear all the time, where women will be like, oh, well, men just want me to be just happy and smiling and just friendly and, all these cheerful things all the time. And that's just not true. That's not true at all. Like, we're all human. We all get it, right? We understand that we're all human beings, and it's not just all smiling and sunshine and rainbows all the time. And no man expects you to be that way. And it's actually really valuable to him if you have more depth and more range. And so having other things that are going on in your life, connecting with your own emotions, and Helena and I have talked about this in great detail in some of the other live streams, where emotions aren't the thing that men don't like, right? There's this thing about drama where a lot of women are like, oh, men think emotions are drama, but that's not the case at all. Men don't think emotions are drama. Men think that emotions with an attachment to expectations are drama. So if you expect something to happen because of your emotions that you're expressing to a man, that's what usually creates drama. And that's a whole nother subject, so I won't go into it there. Here, right now, there, here, now, right now. Anyway, and the third thing is having fun, right? Just have fun with your interactions with the guy. You loosen up, relax, have a good time, right? Play with him a little bit, tease him, talk to him. Whoa, almost lost you guys there. It's my phone. Losing my phone. Losing my phone. So have fun. Have fun in your interactions with the guy. It's important. It's important. All right, so number four and the last one here is, in my opinion, by far the most important one, and that is belief in your own value. And so you recognize your own worth and your own value first. And that's when other people start recognizing your value and your worth. And it's the same way in not only just relationships with men, but also relationships at work, right? If you go in and you're willing to negotiate a better position for yourself, they will automatically believe that you are more valuable. If you come in and you know that you're just awesome, you just kick butt at what you do, they will believe that you're worthy of that. Maybe they will want some proof, but they are far more likely to believe in your worth and value if you believe in your worth and value. And so it's very important that you believe in your worth and value. And so what does this mean? Like, I know it's kind of a abstract concept. Like, what does it mean? So men are going to open doors for you in your life. They're going to lead you through an experience with them. And some of the doors that you're going to find with men are going to be shut. And what you want to do is not try to force doors open with men. You're not trying to get all these doors that men they've locked shut. You don't want to open those doors. You want to open doors. You want to go through doors that are already open. And so you want to believe that you're valuable, so that the only men that you spend your time around are men that already value you from the very beginning. And so I know that that's a difficult thing if you're already in a situation where men don't value you. And however, it's still talking about the same thing, right? It's still having boundaries. It's still believing in your own value, because if you're with a man who doesn't value you, then you need to get out of a bad situation and get into one where you are valued. Follow the open doors. Go into the situations where men are valuing you, and stay away from the situations where men don't value you, because that your job here is to walk through the open doors. So let's talk more about practical things that you can do to have a belief in your own value. One is focusing on your own personal growth. And I talk about this a lot. There's kind of this huge annoying thing in both the men and the women's dating communities, where there's a lot of women that are like, oh, just be yourself. Just be yourself. And there's nothing wrong with the idea of just being yourself, right? Like, I want somebody to love me for me, right? Like, that's the core concept. However, what happens is a lot of people take that concept to an extreme, and they're like, well, I don't want to learn anything about anything new because I want to just be myself, and he better just love me for myself, and if he doesn't love me for myself, then screw him. I'm not doing anything different. But that's not the best relationships to ever be in. Are relationships where people work on themselves, where they grow themselves, where they become better people, where they become people that everybody that are easy to be around, that are enjoyable to be around, that have many different facets to their personality. It's just so much better to be in relationships with people that focus on their own personal growth. A second way to do this is to become really good at something that you like and enjoy. And people that are really confident tend to be people that are really good at least one thing in their life. And so, and you know, sometimes when they're in that situation, that's when they're really confident. However, I think you should work on all the different situations, like all kinds of different things in your life, right? One is finding something that you really care about and working on it and becoming good at it. It might be like a job, it might be a passion, it might be some kind of skill set that you have, but finding something where you look at it and you go, I'm really good at that thing. And then building a couple different things like that, so that there's these different things that you can be really confident in, and that you can feel like you're a valuable and worthwhile person because you're really good at multiple things. It's important to be good at least one thing and have things that you're good at. So and it's all about recognizing your value. The next one is having a passion, like a really cool life passion that you're focused on. Anything that really kind of drives you and makes you like want to live life and gives your life purpose and meaning. And it doesn't have to necessarily be anything huge. Maybe it is, you know, it depends on the person, but it all, like when you have something that you really care about, something that drives you, something that makes it so that when you wake up in the morning, you're just like, oh, you know, like this is something I care so much about. And it could be so many different things. It could be some kind of volunteer activity that you care about. It could be a person, you know, it could be like, I have a nephew, right? It could be like, you know, I care so much about my nephew and I want to make sure that he lives a good life and that he learns all the important things that he needs to learn in order to be a successful, strong man who has all the things that he wants in his life if he wants to go after those things. Or it could be some kind of church thing that you're into, or some kind of anything. Just find some kind of passion, you know, something that really drives you. It could be that you love to explore things, or it could be that you want to open yourself up to lots of different life experiences and travel. Whatever it is, find something that you're really passionate about and go and do those things, so that it's not this big focus on yourself necessarily. It's this focus on you know, being in life and enjoying and living life, and those kinds of people are not only valuable to themselves, but they're valuable to the people around them. And so those are the four things that we're going to talk about today. One is scarcity, supply and demand. 2 is abundance mindset. 3 is emotional attractiveness. And 4 is belief in your own value. So if you guys have any questions about anything, let me know in the chat. I'll go look at the chat right now, see what everybody's been talking about here, and see if there's anything that anybody has a question about. And also, by the way, if you go into the description below here, there should be a link if you're interested in getting some coaching from our team here. We have some open spots. So in the description, there is a place where you can go check out what our coaching is about and jump on a call and talk to Joe specifically about our coaching program and seeing if it's right for you. So that's that. Let's see. Lots of highs from all over the world. Jordan, Missouri, Zambia. I don't even know where that is. Georgia, see, Charlene, Jennifer says hi, Shirley, Petra, Helena's here. Hello, Helena. Hello. Helena's my BFF. She's my best friend in the world. Nigeria, Brisbane, Australia. Awesome. Cool. All right, so do you have any questions? Are there any questions that you guys have? Shirley says, I'm in a long distance relationship. I'm having trouble. Lauria says, you are very perceptive, Matt. Thank you. I love it when people give me compliments. So thank you for any compliments you want to throw my way. Sissy says, I agree with everything you're saying. Well, thank you. So what if you're exclusive and then suddenly he needs a break? This is happening to me. It's been a few days since I've heard from him. Yeah, I mean, a few days isn't really the biggest thing in the world, right? Like, it's. Sorry, I'm having some connection issues here. Yeah, like I'll get these women that are like, oh yeah, this guy ghosted on me for like 4 days, and it's like, okay, is that really ghosting? Normal kind of relationships, most people don't need to be kind of connected to each other like every minute of every day, right? And some people that like, actually, I was just talking to this men's dating coach not too long ago, and we were talking about kind of like texting and calling practices that men have and what he's teaching. And one of the things that he was talking about was he actually, especially for the initial parts of a relationship, he doesn't have men, tells men not to text more than like once a week. So he tells his guys, don't reach out to a woman more than once a week and initiate a conversation, which, I don't particularly agree with. However, it goes to show you that there's a lot of stuff out there where people are like, oh, okay, well, this is a normal conversation. And if she wants to talk more, she'll contact you if she wants to have more of a conversation with you than, something that's once a week. And so it's one of those things, like, I wouldn't worry so much if it's only been a few days since a guy started talking to you, then, just give him some time, right? Like just let him kind of back off, let him kind of go and do his thing. If you really feel like you need to contact him and reach out to him, you can. It's not like leaning back. We were just talking actually in our community about leaning back, and leaning back doesn't mean that you can't like reach out and connect with a guy. You can't like contact him. What it does mean is that he needs to be putting an effort and energy when you are connecting with him if he wants to connect with you. And so if a guy hasn't, if it's just been a couple of days, I wouldn't even worry about it. That's another one of the things that I was talking about with the whole scarcity thing, right? Have other things that are going on in your life. So you're not just so focused on this guy, like, oh my God, it's been 2-3 days since he's contacted me. Oh my God, I'm freaking out right now. It's like, you should have other things going on in your life. You should be meeting other people. You should be going out and doing and having other interests, so that it's not like you're so stuck on whether this guy has contacted you in the last couple of days or not. And so that you can, it's not a problem. You're not freaking out. And so, I get it. I get it when you freak out. And, it's been like that, but you need to like have a bigger life than just him. That way it kind of sucks all of that out. And it's like, oh yeah, he hasn't contacted me in a couple of days. Wow, that's weird. I wonder if everything's okay, instead of like, oh my God, he hasn't contacted me in a couple of days and I'm freaking out right now and I need to find, like, does he not love me? Like all those things that start going through your head. If you've got an amazing life and all these kinds of things that are going on for you, then you're not going to be freaking out if a guy takes a couple of days and has to go and sit in his man cave or his cocoon or whatever it is that you want to call it. Does it work with Muslim guys? Yeah, one of the things that we were talking about the other day in our community is that a lot of this stuff works with guys all over the world, because biology is biology. There's some woman that was like, oh, your advice is such 18, 16, advice, right? Like, let's talk about things for 2019. It's like, yeah, you know, times might change and our expectations around what people should and shouldn't do might change, but biology doesn't change. Biology isn't changing anytime soon. We've had millions of years of evolution into the biological way that we are as humans right now. And just because we've kind of had these emancipations or whatever you want to call them in our own kind of gender dynamics doesn't mean that our biology is different and that men are just going to be women and women are just going to be men and we're just totally exactly the same and all that kind of stuff. That's nonsense. We have a biology and we have a way that things work and that things don't work. And so you can't deny that and you can't pretend like that doesn't exist if you want to have great relationships. And in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why so many people are having so many problems right now, is that they're trying to pretend like that biology doesn't exist when it really does. And again, I just wanted to mention in the description below, there's a link if you're interested in getting some coaching from our team. Check it out down there. You can talk to our guy Joe and he will talk to you and find out if you're good for our coaching program, if you need some one-on-one help and you like what it is that we talk about. So Harpist LA says women have to value men too. That's true. Absolutely. Absolutely. Richo says, I like your hairstyle. Thank you. Right now I'm just growing it out. I'm just going to grow it out as long as possible. I'm actually going to go get a haircut tomorrow. Do you talk about scammers, women who are recovering from a scam situation? I'm not sure what to say to you if you've already been scammed. However, yeah, we talk about scammers all the time because there's quite a few women that have come to our community who have gotten scammed. And so it's important to know what the things are that prevent you from getting scammed and what are the signs and signals and stuff like that. I think I'm going to do probably a couple videos just on scammers just so that we can kind of touch that topic in detail. I'm not sure what you're asking about. However, yes, that's a topic we talk about. Harpus says, men appreciate, women want security. Yeah, men want appreciation. They want to be respected. They want to be valued. They want to look. That's one of the reasons why men try to impress women. That's why when you go on a date, a guy will be like, oh, here's my resume. Here's all the cool things that I do. Because he wants you to appreciate him. He wants you to value him. Allison says, if you have already been intimate, but there's a 3-year gap in the relationship due to mitigation circumstances, and he wants to come right back to where we left off, is it wrong for me to want him to earn that back? I need to know he's genuine this time and is not going to go off again. I'm not into casual sex. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making him earn it back. And you should be doing that. Anytime a guy just disappears on you and all of a sudden he's like, boop-a-doo-doo, like abracadabra, I'm back, right? It's like, okay, great. You're back and you kind of did something that sucked. And so now you need to make sure that you're earning your place back with me and you're earning my time and attention because what you did last time sucked. And I like a man who communicates better with me and talks to me about what's going on with him instead of just running off and disappearing. I'm talking about frames right now, by the way, if you don't know. I have a program called the Love Frames Toolkit where we talk about how to kind of frame different conversations and situations in a relationship so that you make sure that you're kind of creating a relationship that you want to have where the man is doing what you talk about and making sure that you're getting your needs met and you're having real kind of dialogues about what's going on with you. So Harpus says, I think there is a deep divide between men and women these days. Absolutely right. There's a huge divide, and it's a problem. It's a problem. Got more people from all over the world. Helena Hart says, "Oh, BFF." Yep, Helena's my BFF. Love you, Helena. Love you to death. You're my BFF. You're absolutely wonderful. Very helpful tips. Great. I'm glad you appreciate them. Does my man love me? We've been together a year, but I never met his folks yet. Well, that's an interesting question. It depends on his relationship to his folks, to his family. So what is his relationship to his family? If his family is a giant family of people that he doesn't like and he's embarrassed of, that's one thing. If it's not, then it's a completely different thing. And the question is, what is going on there, right? If he's hiding you from his friends, from his family, and he has great relationships with his friends and family, then that is a massive red flag. And especially if it's been a year. And if you guys have been together for a year, one of the things that there's a study that was done not too long ago where they basically did a survey of different men in different kind of time frames of a relationship. And so what they found out, what they asked these men was about what their intentions were with a woman and what they thought of a woman. And what they found out was that by the somewhere between 3 to 6 month mark of being with a woman, a man already figures out, right? By 6 months, he knows for certain what kind of a relationship he wants to have with you. And so he knows whether you're somebody that he wants to get married to and have kids with. He knows whether you're somebody that he just wants to be in a casual relationship until he finds somebody else. He knows everything about kind of the relationship and what he wants with you. And so if you've been in this relationship with a guy for a year and he's not taking you to his parents, his family, and kind of showing you off and talking to them about you and all that kind of stuff, that's a huge red flag. And so you need to have a conversation with him about it and find out if he's just using you as some kind of like piece to, just hang out with while he's, doing whatever, and decide whether it's something that you want, where you want to get married and all that kind of stuff. Because if you've been together for a year, he already knows whether that's something that he wants to do with you or not. So I'll just leave that at that. So Harpus says, women want men to go after them to show them they are interested. That's a man's role. Well, it's actually both, on both sides, right? Men want to know that they're doing a good job as well. They want a woman, so the way that, so I used to be in the men's dating industry, and this is something that we used to talk about over there as well. And one of the ways that I used to talk about it in the men's dating industry is in terms of appreciation, right? Like as a man, especially in the initial kind of phases of a relationship, he's the one that's pursuing the woman. He's the one chasing, he's the one going after the woman, investing in the woman, paying for things, doing all that kind of stuff. And at some point, the woman starts reaching out, contacting him, connecting with him, because from a woman's standpoint, she's the connector, right? She's in her feminine. She's the feminine being in the relationship. So she reaches out and connects to him. And so whenever a man receives a message from a woman, it's like, oh, it's great. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Because it tells him that when you are reaching out to him, that you like him, that you have a high level of interest in him, because you wouldn't if you don't reach out to him, right? As a man, if you go out and start dating and you go and approach lots of women, the overwhelming majority of women that you approach won't like you. They won't be attracted to you. Even if you get their number, it won't go anywhere. It's not going to ever go anywhere. And so It when you get a woman's kind of attention when she sends you a message, it's something to like cherish, right? It's like, oh, it's a relief for a man when he receives a message for you, especially when it's scarce. We talked about number one, the scarcity thing, right? Receiving that message is amazing when it's not happening all the time. And oh man, I got this message from her, like, oh, it shows me that she still cares, she's still interested in me, like all that kind of stuff. And so it's not like the man is the person that should be always doing the pursuing and connecting and reaching out. It should be on both sides. It should always be on both sides. Relationships are a two-way street, and it's not one person or the other. It's both people are connecting with each other, and that's a real relationship. A real relationship isn't man pursues and chases woman and she doesn't do anything. A real relationship isn't a woman pursues and chases a man and he doesn't do anything. A real relationship is both people coming together. So I'm not going to harp on that anymore. Right. If you're in an LDR, you rely on messaging. That's true. Just once a week is showing no interest in a woman. Okay. It's true. It's true. However, what it is doing, and I kind of talked to him about this because I was curious about it, and what she's talking about, Sissy's talking about right now, is that whole like when you're approaching a woman, you just contact her once a week, and there's a lot of different reasons why they say to do that for guys, and I personally don't agree with it. Like if I was going to, I don't teach men anymore. However, I believe that as a man, you don't want that. You want that like emotion, that chemistry, that feeling, that intense passion. You want that to stay alive. And if you're waiting a whole week to contact the girl, then all of a sudden it's like, she's like, I thought he was so into me, and all of a sudden he's gone, right? And then she goes through these emotions, and by the time he gets back to her, it's like, like, what are you doing, man? Right? And so I believe that as a man, if you're contacting a woman and there's a lot of passion there, you should just keep with the passion. However, the reason that they do that is, one, to screen out women who are going to act crazy around you. And another reason is because it's, we're just like what we were talking about, the whole scarcity thing, right? They're creating a scarce environment where they're raising their own value, and they're like, hey, I'm dating a whole bunch of other people, so I'll contact you, we'll hang out once a week, and I'll just call you one time, and if you reach out to me, I'm probably going to be busy. And so they're creating that whole scarcity thing from a kind of an artificial standpoint there, which, say what you will about it, it works. And at the same time, if you make the person feel like you're playing games, you're going to lose good people to it. So you don't want to play games. Okay, so Christina says he is talking to another woman overseas, but stopped talking to her, but made me think he wanted to get back together. Then he acts different again, hot and cold. Okay. So there's a lot of chatter here. Don't cut my hair, it looks cute. Okay. You think my hair looks cute like this? It's really long. All right, so let's see. Yep, biology doesn't change. Is an emotionally unavailable man able to see a woman's value, even if he's still healing from his previous relationship? Is it better to step back until he's worked through those issues? Yeah, it is better to step back until he's worked through his own stuff. And I know that you might feel like, oh, I want to help this guy. I want to, help this baby bird back to life. But if you do that, what ends up happening instead of him coming to you as a full man and being a full man when he connects with you and being in his masculine and all that kind of stuff, what he does is it kind of enables him to stay broken And so if I were you, if there's something that's major going on with a man and it's preventing him from really being present, it's preventing him from doing the things that he needs to do as a man in order to be in the relationship with you, what you need to do is you need to just be like, look, I really like you, and let him know, like, look, I really like you and I want to hang out with you and I'd love to spend a lot of time with you, but I need you here fully. And so, maybe when you get it together and you've kind of gotten through this, like, contact me back. And it's like throwing the fish back out to sea, right? I don't know if you get that analogy, if you don't do fishing, if you've never gone fishing, but put them back in your orbit, right? That's why it's so important to have this abundance mentality with all these men and creating this orbit of men around you, because it's like, you're going to get these men and they're going to come up, and what they're going to do is they're going to do things like, they're going to do a lot of good things, and then all of a sudden there's going to be this weird thing that they do where it's not good, and it's not stepping up to the plate. It's not him being the man. It's weird. Maybe he starts acting hot and cold, maybe whatever. And what you need to be able to do in those certain situations, instead of latching on to him and being like, hey, I can't believe you act like this, instead just throwing him back out to the orbit and being like, hey, when you figure out, like, I don't know what's going on with that, but when you figure it out, let me know. I'd love to hang out with you. I really like hanging out with you when you act like this, but when this is going on, it's a problem for me, and I'm not going to deal with it. And so, send them back to the orbit, right? And that's the world of abundance. The world of abundance is coming from this place where you don't need anybody. It's playing the long game, right? If you want a relationship where you want somebody that's your spiritual soulmate, where you get married, where you have this deep, connective, spiritual relationship, you need to play the long game. It's not, I found this guy and I really like him and I'm going to latch on to him whether he likes it or not. It's, hey, I don't need you. I've got lots of other guys. I can date other men if I want to. If you want to be a part of my life, you need to step up to the plate and be the man in the relationship. And if you're not willing to do that, go back out to the orbit and let me know when you are. And if that's never, that's fine. If that's in a couple weeks, that's great. If it's in a couple months, that's fine. If I'm available still, great. If I'm not, maybe you should have figured that out earlier, right? And so what you're doing is you're creating a world of abundance for yourself. You're creating this world where you don't need a man, where you get your value and you're not willing to put up with anything that's below you. You only want men in your life who are at the level that you need them to be at to have an amazing relationship, a relationship filled with passion, filled with love, a relationship where you're not fighting and arguing all the time, a relationship where you really care and connect with each other and you're communicating in an amazing way, where you can just lay out everything, where you're an open book, where it's transparent, where you have this amazing connection, where you connect on all these different levels. And sure, you have problems because everybody does, but it's not like, you've got this guy and he's broken, but he's all you got. So, oh, well, I'm just going to deal with this guy that's massively broken and not working on fixing it or dealing with it. All right, that was a rant. I'm married and my partner increasingly appears to devalue me, my time, and my needs. How do I bridge this gap? And at one point, or just give up and end the marriage? Well, like I said, first off, go back over the beginning of this video and listen to what I talk about. And it applies whether you're single or in a relationship. And maybe you're not out dating men, which, by the way, I don't recommend that anybody sleeps around. However, you're out there meeting other people, you've got a full life, you're creating scarcity for yourself. If he's not valuing you and your time and your needs, then your time and your energy and your emotion and all those things that are really valuable for you as a woman goes somewhere else, doesn't go to him anymore. And make sure that you're communicating what's going on and having conversations with him and framing things the right way and having conversations where he understands what it is that's going on. Because if you're just angry and you don't talk to him about it and you're trying to make him read your mind, that doesn't work either. However, having a situation where he gets it and he understands what's going on with you is really what you want to do. Okay. Don't cut it. It looks cute. Thanks. What if he blushes and smiles at me but never tries to talk to me and does not like to text me? Well, that's a problem, right? Because what you need, so this is what Kareem and Zena, I guess that's one person, Kareem and Zena says, what if he blushes and smiles at me but never tries to talk to me? So you need a man who's willing to be a man, right? If you go out and you see a guy and he smiles and he's like, oh, he's, oh, you're so cute, but he's not willing to come over and pursue you and step up and all that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, well, I guess nothing's going to happen because he's not taking those actions and he's not being a man. You want this guy to actually be a man, right? You can't pull that out from him and try to make things work just because he's cute and you like him. He needs to step up to the plate. He needs to act like a man. And if he's not going to, then be with somebody who is. And so that's the world of abundance. That's what we're talking about with number 2. The world of abundance. Harpus says, no, once he disappears and then thinks he can come back, it's already over. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you. Depends on how emotionally broken you were from it, and how much you like him, and all the other things we talked about. You have given your heart and money away. It's so hard to trust someone. Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, so that's what you're talking about from scammer standpoint, is you're talking about having given healing. You're talking about healing after being scammed. Okay, I get it. I'll make a mental note of that. We'll create a video on that. Some days he is always blushing and smiling at me, and some days he just dislikes me. I don't understand. Are you in a relationship with this person? Are you actually talking to him? Like, is it just a friend of yours? Like, who is this guy? I'm trying to help other women so this doesn't happen. Okay. I think that's a good purpose, Yvonne. There's a lot of people that are getting scammed out there. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. Women are losing billions of dollars over this stuff. And so I think it's a good cause to help women not get scammed. Helena says, love you too. Aw, that's sweet. Great advice. He told me he wants to compartmentalize. Thank you, Matthew. You rock, Shirley. You rock. I don't know where the camera is on here. I'm like, where is it? Where's the camera? Where am I pointing at? How to sincerely tell a guy that I'm looking for something serious. I'm so shy to bring it up. We've known each other 2 years. You've known each other. Are you dating or are you not dating? What are you trying to tell him? Kind of depends on the actual relationship. If you just know a dude for 2 years and you're not in a relationship with him, and you're trying to tell him something serious, depends on what the serious thing is, and it depends on what kind of a relationship you have. The gentleman that I like and interested in, Tracy says, the gentleman I like and am interested in only wants to be in a friend with benefits relationship. Should I leave or wait? You should leave. 100%. You should absolutely leave. Don't allow... So first off, I want to say a friend with benefits situation, friend with benefits relationship is not a stage from meeting a man to marriage. It's not a stage. There's no stage of friend with benefits and then you're in a relationship. And it's more likely that you're not going to move from a friend with benefits to a real relationship than it is that you will. You need to make sure that you're getting your needs met if you're going to fulfill the needs of the man that you're seeing. You have to make sure that you're getting your needs met. And if you want a real relationship, you should not be sleeping with men without exclusivity. That should be a part of the deal. If a man wants to have sex with you, part of your deal should be that he is going to be exclusive with you. Unless you just don't care about getting to marriage and commitment. And if that's what you see, that's fine. Just realize that women tend to end up falling in love with guys that they're sleeping with, assuming that the guy is a valuable guy and an attractive dude. And so if you want to be in that situation where you're with a guy who just wants you as a friend with benefits and you want something more, I mean, just realize that that's something I recommend that you avoid at all costs. Harpus says, but once you reach out, they think they've got you and then change. Nah, it's not true. It's not true at all. They don't think they've got you. They don't think they've got you. If a woman reaches out, that doesn't make a guy go, oh, I've got her. What it does make a guy go is, oh, I am getting some attention from her right now. Now, if you're reaching out constantly and trying to set dates and trying to be the man of the relationship, yeah, then he's like, I got you. But if if you reach out once here, once there, once here, he doesn't think he's got you. In fact, he might think he's got you for a minute, but then all of a sudden you're not reaching out and he's like, oh, maybe I don't have her, right? And it kind of like, not to say play a game or anything, but it's not, he doesn't think he's got you just because you reach out to him one time. Christine says, I try to follow the taking turns type of attitude. If I'm the last one who made contact and it's been a few days, I just, as you would say, lean back and let him come to me. When he gets attention from other girls for a short amount of time, he usually tries to impress them, but I know for a fact he loves me. He just feels comfortable that he has me. What do you say in this? Well, okay. Oh, that was two. I thought those are the same one. So Christine says, taking turns. If I'm the last one to make contact, lean back and let him come back around to me. Yeah, I mean, if you contact him, so one of the things that you know as a guy, or you should know as a guy, a lot of guys don't know this because they were raised in really bad households, is that if you're a guy and a woman contacts you, it's your job to start doing stuff. Right? So she contacts me as a guy. I know as a guy, I'm like, okay, what this means is she's interested. She wants to hang out. She wants to connect. She wants to do these things. So now it's my turn. And it's my turn to start going, oh, hey, it's great to hear from you. Like, what's going on? And, oh, like, I'd love to meet up with you and grab a drink or something this week. Like, what's your schedule look like, right? So that's what should happen, right? If you reach out to a guy and you're like, hey, I was thinking of you, or hey, I just saw this and reminded me of that, or hey, I just remember that thing that you said to me and it just made me smile, and so I thought I'd send you a message, or whatever it is that you send out a message to him about. It's his job next to start taking that and running with it, right? That's how it works. And if he's not kind of stepping up and doing that, then you have to wait for him to do that. Otherwise, what you're going to start doing is chasing him, and that's going to be devaluing yourself, and all of a sudden he's going to be like, I can do anything and it doesn't matter. And so you don't want to get into that situation. All right, and so Isra says when he gets attention from other girls for sure. Isra, you have to tell us more about your situation. Like, are you in a relationship? Have you been seeing each other? Are you physically intimate? Like, what kind of a relationship are you in? My God, there's so many, there's so many messages on here. Sissy says, it does look cute, man. Thank you. Keep it long. All right. Why are so many men shut off these days? They have a coldness. It's weird. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems going on in the dating industry. There's a lot of men that have been hurt, and there's a lot of kind of what is going on right now. If you look in the men's dating industry, a lot of the kind of there's a lot of angry men out there right now. Just tons and tons of angry men who have been hurt. The industry, what's going on in the industry is things are changing quite a bit. Men are having less sex than ever before in history. There's more sex being had than ever before in history, but men in general are having less of it now than ever before. And however, not all men are. There's like, I can't remember what the stat was, but there's something right now around like 22 or 24% of men out there are completely celibate, right? They're not having any sex at all. And it's something like 12 or 14% of women, right? And so what's actually going on is there's this top tier of men that are like players and really good looking guys and kind of these different things, and they're having all the sex. They're having tons and tons of sex with lots and lots of different women, and all the women are kind of competing for those guys. And then there's kind of this middle ground of guys that are having sex or whatever. And so there's a lot of really angry men out there because they aren't having sex, they're celibate, there's nothing they can do about it, and there's just a lot of pain and anger. And there's dating coaches that talk about indifference, and there's kind of these scales. It's a long story, but there's just a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain on both sides of the aisle right now in the dating industry, and one of our jobs is to help heal it and help be on the same side as each other instead of fighting each other. Volda says, "Hi from Antigua. I love your program and agree with everything you say." Thank you. Ramona says, "You have helped me so much in my relationship. Thank you." You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for allowing me to be on your journey. So Pure in Heart says, "I hate online dating. It's just not me. How do I reframe my mindset so I can get out and see other people when I back away from a man who isn't getting serious so that my attention isn't on him?" So first off, one of the things that I want to talk about, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, is that if you're doing online dating, that shouldn't be your primary source of meeting men. You should be meeting men in person. You should be meeting them out, not necessarily at bars, but just all over the place, because men will approach you all over the place. Men that are serious, that are looking for relationships, that think you're attractive, they will approach you anywhere. And so online dating is good to create abundance because it's easier to, as a woman, you probably know, it's really easy to get a lot of guys to contact you, set up a profile, put up a couple pictures and something, and you'll have guys messaging you the next day. So it's a lot easier to do that and get people talking to you and have kind of an orbit of guys. But there's a lot of weird guys online, just like there's a lot of weird women online. There's a lot of weird people online on the online dating space. And so it's kind of difficult to kind of like weed through people when you're talking to them, because there's just, the spectrum of what people are on the internet when you're talking to them with online dating is so huge that it's like, you get these people from all kinds of different aspects of life that you wouldn't normally talk to who are now talking to you, and it's just a total mismatch. And there's lots of that. And so you're going to feel a lot of weird stuff doing online dating. And in my personal opinion, you should be meeting the majority of people that you meet in real life and not online. Although online does work, and I know plenty of women in our community that have gotten married from meeting guys online, and you just have to screen it the right way. How do you reframe your mindset? That's a good question. It depends on what your mindset is. Like, you just don't like online dating? I don't know. You'd have to talk to me more about what your mindset actually is to reframe it. Like, what's the problem? Like, why do you feel like you don't want to meet other guys? Like, what are you, like, what do you want? What do you really want? That's another thing that I talk about. If I were you, what I'd look at is, what do you really want? And what is stopping you from going after what you want? And then what is life going to continue being like that you don't want if you don't go out and meet other guys? And so connect that pain, like that pain of like, if I stay in this, I'm going to be single forever. I'm going to become an old cat lady. My friends are going to disown me. My parents are going to think I'm a failure. You know, whatever it is that you have in your mind, where you can think of yourself as, you know, not having a great relationship. I'm going to be in an abusive relationship for the rest of my life. Whatever that pain is, connect to that and then look at, what is it that I really want? Like, what drives me to be in a relationship? Like, what do I want to experience? What do I want to feel that makes this worth it for me? And just connect to both of those, and that will help you kind of propel yourself. All right. There's a lot of talk. Okay, we're kind of hitting the edge here, so I'm going to get going. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. I hope that this video has been really valuable for you. And so thank you so much for being here. You're definitely the best part of our community, the best part of what we do. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. And make sure, if you want coaching, if you're interested in our coaching program, go to the description underneath the video and click on the link that has you go and check out the Soulmate Attraction System program that we have. We have a bunch of different kind of levels of it, so depending on what your financial needs are, if you're interested in it, go to that page. You can fill out an application and talk to our guy Joe, and he'll talk to you about your situation, figure out what's really going on with you. Joe is amazing. He's absolutely amazing at what he does, so check that out. If you're interested in getting coached and you listen to our stuff and you think it's great, you should go and check out that, talk to Joe, find out if the program's right for you. And thank you, everybody, for being on here. And I love talking to you guys. And so, yeah, I will talk to you again soon. Cheers.